At this moment, I'd like to bring Chris Yano to the podium. The impact and legacy of this individual's life is going to have a tremendous ripple effect in this country and the world, and indeed the local community. You must have fallen from the sky with the wings and the halo. You've done an incredible job in your work in empowering and changing the course of a lot of young people. I've seen this individual work tirelessly, and you have a source of energy that draws from I don't know where. My good friend, Chris Yanov, the floor is yours. Tell us about Reality Changers and how it is that it embraces the dream.
I want to thank Alianza for choosing the students of Reality Changers to be the recipients of your generous donations. And I brought some of their stories with me today. And as a special gift, we're going to give all of you one of Reality Changers' yearbooks so you can take these stories home. I want to say thank you in advance to Amber for placing one of these yearbooks in all of those oceanfront homes forever and ever and ever. I don't memorize all of my students' college essays, but I do remember the first two lines of Genemo Ali's. Genemo wrote, "Good writers often say that the key to writing is to put the readers in your shoes. However, growing up in a small impoverished town in Ethiopia, I did not have any shoes in which to put the reader until I was 11 years old. Genemo is the American dream." Jesse Sanchez's mom earned $8,000 a year. Now Jesse is entering his fourth year on a full-ride scholarship to Harvard for $215,000. He's traveled literally around the world and studied in places like Japan, China, Spain, and sent out videos from below the Eiffel Tower. Jesse is the American dream. Yaritza Hernandez's mom, she's cleaned houses for as long as Yari has been alive, not knowing that her daughter would eventually be interning, not in just any house, but the House of Representatives, before she was even a senior in high school. Then there's Gerardo Jaimes, who lives just on the other side of the Jacobs Center. He wrote this: "I can hear some of the major influences in my life during the still of the night, when helicopters, sirens, and gunshots echo through the crackling darkness that surrounds my house. The shadows lurking outside use spray cans and bullets to make their mark and be noticed by others. Although I too wish to be recognized for my actions, I have also been taught that performing positive deeds in life are more powerful than succumbing to negative ones. Indeed, my neighborhood has inspired me to give troubled teenagers the motivation to become headline news for their accomplishments and not for their mistakes. Gerardo is the American dream." If you allow me to share the entire story of one young student's college essay from a couple years ago. It's from a student named Michael. And his story goes like this. I have to sort of summon Michael's presence. He has a certain voice when he delivers his message. And here are his words about what it is to become an American dream. "Ever since I can remember, I have been a slave of the world. I have been whipped and punished every time a glimmer of light shone through my horizons. Why? Because from June of 1998 through July of 2009, over 10 years, I was oppressed by homelessness. Before I was emancipated, I slept next to the people that you see aimlessly wandering the city, and I ate beside the same people you see sleeping on the sidewalk under the lonely night sky. Yet when I see those people now, I see myself. We were laughed at together. We were persecuted together. We cried together. Looking back, I have realized that these tears were my constrained ambition leaking through my eyes. Mine eyes have seen freedom deprived as childhood friends have been gunned down. Both my father and my grandfather were sentenced to life in prison, and my great-grandfather was violently murdered. They call us at-risk youth, and with each generation, the risk becomes even greater. But where does that risk stop? It stops with me. In fact, as my family traveled across the United States along our own Underground Railroad, I have discovered that seeking higher education has always been my Harriet Tubman. I have stayed at her side by always keeping my overall GPA above a 3.0, even while completing all of my homework from the back seat of a broken down car. And although I had to eat in that car, sleep in that car, bathe in that car, and then wake up and do it all over again, these experiences have been essential for me to learn how to become an entrepreneur, to somehow make it one way or another, and one day become powerful enough to help the battle to abolish homelessness. And while it may be true that I was born at risk, under extreme bondage, with homelessness as my oppressor, I am determined to march to college this fall as a free man. And when Michael wrote that, just a few months being removed from living in a back seat of a broken down car just down the street, Michael received a letter in the mail that said, "Congratulations, you've received a full ride $100,000 scholarship to UCLA." And that's where Michael's been. He too studied abroad this past summer. Got to explore all of Europe, see how much bigger the world was, and he'll be finishing up UCLA next June. You know, less than 5 years after Martin Luther King gave his "I Have a Dream" speech, he was assassinated. And when I look at this picture, and I was sitting down looking at this picture, I realized that he can't look us in the eye until we stand up. And you can't look at him in the eye until you stand up and take action. The night before he was assassinated, he told an audience, "I've seen the promised land." And where is that far off place? Well, perhaps it's not so far off after all. Because you see, every time each and every single one of us helps a student find that dream, Michael was the American dream. Genema was the American dream. Yaritza was the American dream. Jesse was the American dream. Gerardo was the American dream. You're the American dream. We're the American dream. When we go out and make those dreams possible, that promised land can be found right here in each and one of our hearts. Thank you so much for supporting Rally Genders and supporting that dream.